The light fades and to reveal a stately living room in an upscale rural estate. Jack Carvalas stands at the bar, pouring himself a drink. He is a man in his early to mid-30s, dressed in business attire. There is a knock at the door. Preston Carvalas enters.
You're late. I specifically said 1 p.m.
I am in no mood for this today, Jack.
Then why agree to meet me?
Had I known you were behind the invitation, I would have declined. I thought it was Kennemeyer who left the message.
He removes his coat, hanging it on the coat rack near the door.
Can I pour you a drink?
I'm too depressed to drink.
Whatever you say. So what happened this time?
Janet left me. At least you thought enough of me to keep the engagement ring. I don't understand it, Jack. Why do you have all the luck? I try to do one good thing for myself, and what happens?
I don't believe in luck. Luck has little to do with it.
That's a strange philosophy for a gambler.
Oh, I never gamble, at least with my money. With my life and my trust, perhaps, but never my money.
What are you talking about? Your every spare moment is spent at a poker table or a pool table.
Well, it's all about skill, not luck. A gamble is an uncertainty. When you gamble, there's always a chance you'll lose. I make sure there is no chance of loss. I cheat.
I wouldn't expect anything less from you, Jack. Here I am, honest, earnest, dependable, trustworthy, and...
Dull.
What?
And now heartsick, apparently. Women, that is the true gamble.
So I've learned. I suppose that's one game even you can't cheat.
Oh, you're wrong there, Preston.
I'm talking about love, Jack, not the kind of relationships you keep.
I'm quite satisfied with my relationships, I'll have you know.
Oh, I know.
Well, I may have some news that can cure all of your ills, even those of the heart. That's why I have asked you to meet me here this afternoon.
What news? Dare I ask what you're planning to get us into?
That's the trouble with you, Preston. You make too many assumptions. Life knocks, and you barricade the door.
Can't I have just one afternoon of peace and quiet?
If you wanted quiet and peaceful afternoons or evenings, you shouldn't have been born as my younger brother. You should have chosen a nice, normal, and decent family. It's your own fault.
So what's this news you have? And why couldn't you just call me instead of dragging me all the way out in the middle of nowhere? And where's Kennemeyer?
That's the spirit. Grin and bear your mistakes. Let's embrace your difficulties in traditional Carvalas fashion.
That's what I'm afraid of.
Oh, have a drink. We'll celebrate our good fortune and the fact that you are still an eligible bachelor.
He pours Preston a drink and brings it to him.
For a while, I was concerned that our brotherhood adventures might be in danger of coming to an end.
But good fortune. Did we win the lottery?
Almost. Dear old Mr. Kennemeyer, of whom we have been graciously employed for the past 10 years.
Whom?
What?
Of whom we've been graciously employed.
Whatever. Anyway, Mr. Kennemeyer expired as of 11 p.m. last night.
What? How?
Apparently he was on his yacht, enjoying a lovely cocktail party, when he choked on a shrimp tail.
I don't believe it.
I do. Have you ever seen that man put away finger food?
No, I mean, I don't believe he's dead. How did you find out?
His housekeeper phoned me last night with the good news.
Why exactly is this good news? Now we're unemployed.
Oh, contraire, little brother, we will no longer need jobs within the hour.
Why?
Because Mr. Kennemeyer's lawyer is on his way here at this very moment to go over the details of the will. As you know, he had no immediate family, no wife, no sons, no daughters, no nieces or nephews, no distant cousins.
So
what do you think that means? We've been his closest companions for the past 10 years. We've been his right-hand men. We've been like sons to the old goat. So think about it, Preston. Who do you think will inherit Meyer's estate?
The government.
The government. No, us. Why else would his lawyer want to talk to us about the will?
I don't know, Jack. This is your area of expertise.
Exactly. Which is why you are going to let me do all the talking when he gets here.
Then why did I need to be here to begin with?
Oh, don't pester me with stupid questions.
Do you really think Kennemar would leave us his entire estate? Don't you think that's aiming a bit high?
That's the difference between you and me. I am an optimist. Don't worry about it. When you worry, your eyes twitch.
No, they don't.
Just leave it to me. That must be Mr. Price. Get that sour look off your face. We're about to become gentlemen of high society.
When I see you act like a gentleman, then...
Jack opens the door. Edwin Price enters, a stately-looking gentleman in an expensive suit. He carries a briefcase.
Mr. Carvalas,
That's me.
I'm Edwin Price. We spoke on the phone.
Yes, of course. We've been expecting you. Come in. This is my brother, Preston Carvalas.
Ah, yes, the Carvalas brothers. I have heard a great deal about the two of you.
That can't be good.
Could I offer you a drink?
No, thank you. If it's all right with you gentlemen, I'd like to get straight to business.
Oh, absolutely. Please, sit down.
I only wish my visit was under more pleasant circumstances.
Yes, Preston and I are shocked and saddened by Mr. Kennemeyer's sudden passing.
Now, as I told you on the phone, Mr. Carvalas, I represent the deceased, Mr. Kennemeyer, and he's trusted me with his legal affairs, which include the handling of his will and distribution of his estate. I'm sure that you are aware that he had no close relations.
Yes, I am aware of that.
He shoots a look at Preston and smirks.
I understood that the both of you worked for him.
Yes, 10 years. 10 very devoted years. He was a kind of a father figure to both of us. It's a shame his life had to end that way. He was a pillar of industry and a great man. Ironic that all it took to bring him down was a shrimp cocktail.
Laying it on a bit thick, aren't we?
As Kennemeyer's most trusted employees, it may come as no surprise to you that according to his last will and testament, you and your brother are entitled to the deceased estate.
The entire estate?
Yes.
I feel faint.
Mr. Price, I can assure you that we will look after his business, and of course this property, to the best of our ability. It is only a shame that it is under these circumstances that we must do so. Yet, in these times of sadness, we must all do our part, come together in one and...
Well, which brings me to my next point, Mr. Carvalas. Yes, the house is yours, so to say. However, there is one small stipulation.
Stipulation.
What kind of stipulation?
Well, the will states very clearly that you and Preston shall receive the estate in full, but only if it does not sell within 3 months.
Huh?
Now, according to the term of Kennemeyer's will, you will be required to list this house and all of its adjoining property on the market for 90 days. Should the property sell, the proceeds are to be donated to the West Side Veterinary Hospital for cats.
Wait a minute. Just so that I understand what you're saying, we have to sell the house and give the profit to a cat hospital.
Those are the terms. However, if the property does not sell, it is left entirely to you and your brother.
I knew it was too good to be true.
What happens if we don't list it for sale?
And I'm afraid the state will take over. But I'm sure as Kennemeyer's trusted friends, you will be happy to abide by his final wishes.
Yes, of course, of course. Just one more question. Are we to set the sale price?
Oh no, the asking price is designated in the will.
Now I know why I've always hated cats.
Preston, I'm surprised at you. Show some respect.
There is no need to be cross, Mr. Carvalas. Now, are you all right? Your eyes are twitching.
They are not.
Please ignore my brother, Mr. Price. He's a bit upset and confused over Mr. Kennemeyer's death.
I understand. Well, I should also inform you that I have a prospective buyer.
That's fast work. The man only died last night.
True, but Mrs. Patricia Charlotte, a rather infamous eccentric socialite from down south, has had her eyes on this house for many years. Why, as soon as she learned of Kennemeyer's death in this morning's paper, she contacted me.
Is that so?
Yes, I've made arrangements for Mrs. Charlotte to spend a few days here next week to get familiarized with the house. And well, I'd hope that you gentlemen would be kind enough to serve as her hosts.
Well, why would we do something like that?
It seems only fitting that the two of you that are required to manage this sale.
I see.
Naturally, we felt it best to wait until after the funeral.
Oh, of course. Mr. Price, Preston and I would be delighted to serve as her hosts.
Excellent. Now I believe that takes care of everything. Here's my card in case either of you have any questions or concerns. Feel free to contact me at any time.
Jack shakes hands with Price.
We will. Thank you.
We would be delighted to serve as her hosts. Well, I'm not delighted.
You have a delight about anything.
Why do we have to play house with a house that isn't even ours?
Not ours yet. For all intents and purposes, it is ours.
Didn't you hear the man, Jack? We have to sell it and give all the money to sick felines.
Don't panic. I have a plan.
What is it?
I'll tell you when I think of it.
Great.
Preston, sometimes brilliance lies in the very simple.
Huh?
All we have to do is make this place very unappealing.
It's a prime piece of real estate. The house is in perfect condition and sits on 25 acres of elaborate landscape. It's peaceful, quiet, spacious, and need I mention only minutes from the lake shore.
Yes, I know all of this. Thank you for your glowing description. You should have been a real estate agent.
My point is, we already know she wants the house. When she sees it, she'll only want it more. Might as well go ahead and write the check out to the cat hospital.
Relax, will you? Your eyes are about to twitch right out of your head. Look, I've spent years talking people into buying things from me. How hard can it be to talk someone out of buying something?
You talk people into things by lying to them.
I'm the perfect salesman.
You're a con artist and far from perfect.
What we have to do is approach this situation like a card game. Find out the weaknesses of the opponent and use them to our advantage.
This is life, Jack. Not one of your stupid games.
Life is a game, Preston. There is no difference. What do we know about Mrs. Charlotte?
Nothing.
Aren't you going to answer that?
Why? It's probably for Kennemeyer. And he's dead.
Fine, then I'll answer it.
He goes to the door and opens it. Price stands in the doorway.
Mr. Price.
Pardon my intrusion, gentlemen. I was just about to leave when I realized I had forgotten to tell you something you probably should know before next week.
Sure. Come in. Have a seat.
No, thank you. This will only take a moment, and it's in regards to Mrs. Charlotte.
What is it?
Now, as I mentioned, she is rather eccentric. It may not even come up or be something you'll need to worry about, but just in case, I should probably tell you one of these eccentricities.
What eccentricity? And why do we care?
Preston. Go on, Mr. Price.
Mrs. Charlotte is superstitious and to the extreme, I'm afraid.
Superstitious. Really?
Yes. As a matter of fact, I remember her very well from Kennemeyer's Halloween party several years ago now. That evening started out fairly well, but by the end of the night, she was mostly almost hysterical now, seeing ghosts everywhere, believing the yacht to be haunted, etc. Now, of course, she had quite a bit to drink. But she had to be escorted off the boat and put into a taxi before she embarrassed herself further. I don't say all this in an attempt to humiliate her. You understand.
Oh, of course not.
It may be helpful for you to know that. So, well, you won't be caught by surprise when she behaves strangely.
I appreciate the warning.
Well, I'll be off now. Sorry again to intrude. I know you have a business to run.
No intrusion, Mr. Price. Thank you again. Preston, we have our answer.
What answer?
Don't you see? This is perfect.
What are you talking about?
She'll be here in a week. That will give us just enough time to prepare.
Prepare what?
I have a plan, and it's foolproof.
I don't like the sound of that. What exactly are we doing?
Saving ourselves from losing a fortune. Just trust me.
I never like it when you say that.
I will take care of everything, but I'll need your help.
Scared already.
The living room of Kennemeyer Hall. 1 week later, evening. Preston paces about nervously while Jack watches through the window.
When Mrs. Charlotte gets here, you just smile, act friendly, and pretend to be the perfect gentleman. Come on, smile. That's pitiful. Actually, that's good. Keep that expression. And I'll tell Mrs. Charlotte that you have inhaled too many toxic fumes coming off the lake.
I feel sick.
So what else is new? Showtime! Act happy, okay?
Yay.
Jack answers the door, revealing Patricia Charlotte, an elderly woman extravagantly dressed and adorned with an abundance of jewelry.
Greetings, Mrs. Charlotte. We've been expecting you, and we're so wonderfully happy to see you here with us this evening. And go ahead.
Please, Mr. Carvalas, call me Patricia. I've always hated formalities. They make a person look like a snob. And if there's anything I'm not, it's a snob.
She pushes her way in the door, carrying an armful of luggage, which she passes off to Preston.
Please take care of these, would you, young man?
But these are heavy.
Come in. Welcome to Kennemeyer Hall. I am Jack, and this is my brother Preston.
Oh, I just love this room. Very spacious.
Yes, it certainly is. Preston, would you mind taking Mrs. Charlotte's things up to her room?
Why do I have to take the things?
Take the luggage.
Preston reluctantly heads up the stairs, struggling with the luggage. Jack addresses Patricia.
I apologize for the lack of service. I am afraid the staff left after Mr. Kennemeyer's death, so it will be just the three of us for the weekend.
Oh, the four of us, Mr. Carvalas. Jack, didn't you say? Oh, I brought my niece along with me. Oh, I forgot my niece.
Aunt Patty?
Oh, honey, I'm sorry.
She goes to the door, opening it for Evelyn Winthrope, a beautiful young woman in dark clothes. She carries one small suitcase.
Jack, I must introduce you to my niece, Evelyn Winthrope. I invited her to come up here with me this weekend. It can never hurt to have another opinion. Whether she wants to admit it or not, she needed to get out of that noisy apartment of hers for a little while.
Good evening, Miss Winthrop.
Nice to meet you.
Look, Evie, at the size of this room. My head is already spinning with ideas.
Hi.
Miss Winthrop, this is my brother, Preston. Preston, would you please take Miss Winthrop's suitcase up to her room?
I just came.
Please.
Preston sighs and takes the suitcase from Evelyn. He exits up the stairs.
Never mind my niece, Jack. She is a bit shy, but I guess that's what happened, what city life does to a person. Well, that's why I'm so eager to get her out here in the country.
Well, would you care to sit down and have a drink before we show you around?
Oh, I would love a drink. Something strong. I don't care what it is. It's been a long drive.
For you, Miss Winthrop.
No, thank you.
Oh, that's a good girl. You don't want to get tipsy right off the bat. First impression is everything. Oh, has this floor been recently finished?
I think so.
He hands Patricia a drink.
Bless you, young man. Oh, I so hate scotch. Bring me another, would you?
My pleasure.
He pours another and brings it to her.
Oh, I must say, I'm thrilled to finally have a chance to see this place up close and personal. Of course, I don't mean that I'm thrilled that poor Mr. Kennemeyer died. But I have had my greedy little eyes on this house for some time.
Did you know Mr. Kennemeyer?
Oh, not personally. I did attend some of his yacht parties, though. He had a magnificent yacht. I'm not surprised that it was a cocktail that did him in. After all, drinking is the devil's curse.
Another?
Oh, you may as well, dear.
Jack pours another drink and brings it to her again.
Oh, but Aunt Patty, it wasn't the alcohol that killed him. He choked on an appetizer.
Well, whatever. Oh my, young man, you are looking a little pale.
Oh, that's just how he looks when he's excited.
Yeah.
Oh, pish posh. I left my cigarette case in the car. Evie, would you mind accompanying me to the car for a moment? I hate going outside by myself.
Sure. Excuse me, gentlemen.
Of course.
Patricia exits, followed by Evelyn. Jack waits for them to leave before he continues.
My God, this is going to be a long weekend. I hope the whiskey holds out.
Told you, Jack. Shorty loves this house and she's barely seen it. Why even bother with the tour? Let's just sign the paperwork and get it over with. I can probably get a job waiting tables somewhere.
You stop that kind of talk. Don't give up so easily. We have a plan. All we have to do is stick to it.
Patricia screams off stage. Jack and Preston rush to the door, Preston arriving first before he can open it. Patricia bursts through, smacking Preston in the face with the door. Evelyn follows her. Patricia is hysterical.
Calm down, Aunt Patty. It's all right. It's gone.
What happened? What happened?
That was with its teeth bared and its claws out. Oh, I'm lucky I still have my eyeballs.
What was it?
Oh, a horrible little monster. I think it scratched me. Oh, am I bleeding? I think I need a drink.
I am so sorry. Please excuse her. Aunt Patty is a little superstitious.
Oh, is that so?
Quickly, I need to find a north-facing mirror and tap it 7 times. It's the only way to reverse bad luck.
Bad luck.
Oh, the curse of the black cat. It not only crossed my path, it nearly ripped me to pieces. Now I have to get rid myself of its evil energy by deflecting the bad luck in a mirror.
Oh, I see. There's a restroom outside that corridor with a mirror. I think it faces north.
Oh, Evie, come with me and check me for scratches. I just know I'm bleeding somewhere.
Excuse me again, gentlemen. This won't take but a minute.
No worries.
You think I'm neurotic. I may not like cats, but they don't make me hysterical.
Jack laughs, almost menacingly.
This is just too delicious.
What? What are you so giddy about?
The cat wasn't even planned. Mrs. Charlotte will not be buying this house when we're done with her.
Mr. Carvalas, I am so sorry for Aunt Patty's outburst. She has always been this way. She comes from another time, you know.
You don't have to explain, Miss Winthrope.
She really doesn't mean any harm.
Is she all right?
Oh, she'll be fine. She'll be out in a minute. She's just calming her nerves.
Are you telling that I'm a crazy old bat? I am. Are you telling them that?
Of course not.
I know that's what you must think, boys. But you listen to me. There are forces in this world beyond our explanation. Do you believe that?
Well,
Well, you should. Call me crazy. But I have seen things happen to people, Jack. Things you couldn't imagine.
I'm sure you have.
Don't patronize me, young man.
He didn't mean anything by that, Mrs. Charlotte. Please have a seat and rest a little. Then Preston and I will gladly give you and your niece a tour of the house and grounds.
Well, if I do buy this place, and I'm not saying I will, those cats will be the first things to go.
Yes, Mr. Kennemeyer was fond of his feline companions.
Was he ever? Just ask the West Side Cat Hospital.
Smacks Preston in the back of the head.
Shh.
It's no wonder he died. Like cats running around all over the place. Well, it's surprising he lived as long as he did. Young man, you should really see someone about that twitch. I know a good doctor.
Patty, why don't you sit down?
Oh, all right. But only if I could have another drink.
Preston, would you kindly pour Mrs. Charlotte a drink?
When did I become the butler?
Don't be rude.
I told you, Jack. Call me Patricia.
Patricia, of course.
Running out of scotch.
Never mind. Patricia, would you mind if I spoke frankly?
Oh, of course not, Jack. I'm a firm believer in being frank. Never hold anything back. That's my motto.
A fine motto it is.
Well, take my poor Eve. She never speaks her mind. I try and try, but she keeps everything bottled up.
That's not true.
Why, I don't think I've ever heard her speak more than 3 words at a time.
It isn't always
But
necessary
who
to.
knows what young people think about these days? You know what I mean, Jack.
Yes, I have the same trouble with Preston.
That's only because you never let
Anyway, go on, Jack. You had something you wanted to say?
Well, I shouldn't really be telling you this, Patricia. But I feel like I can be honest with you. I wouldn't feel right selling you this house unless I told you the truth.
The truth about what?
Yes, Jack. The truth about what?
The truth about Mr. Kennemeyer's death and the unusual terms of his will.
Jack?
Well, I don't see what there is to tell. The poor man choked to death. It's a very sad and unpleasant way to go, I'd say.
A very unpleasant way to die, but I'm afraid the truth is far worse.
Jack.
You mean to say he didn't choke on a shrimp tail?
That story was fed to the newspapers to avoid the scandal.
Scandal? Oh my! What kind of a scandal?
Jack, don't do this.
Preston, please. I believe that they deserve to know what really happened. It is an unpleasant story. I probably shouldn't be telling you anything about it, particularly in front of your niece.
Oh, she's not as innocent as she looks. Besides, I want to know.
Mr. Kennemeyer was not the victim of a tragic accident. He was murdered.
Murdered?
By who?
Could have been anyone. You see, Mr. Kennemeyer was involved in some very shady dealings.
You mean they don't know who did it?
At this point, it's anyone's guess.
How awful! What sort of dealings was he in?
There were some operations involving the mob, espionage, terrorism. It's all too horrible to even mention, and that's not the worst part.
What is the worst part?
It's true that the murderer or murderers have not been discovered, but I should also tell you, Miss Charlotte, Patricia, he was murdered in this very house.
No, you don't say.
He said it.
Yes, I'm afraid so. It was a monstrous ordeal. 6 bullet wounds.
6?
No one knows why the murderer stabbed him as well. I suppose they wanted to make sure the job was done.
Oh, that's horrible.
He was found upstairs in his bedroom, in pieces.
Pieces?
They were able to clean up most of the blood. It was quite a scene. Body parts strewn about all over the room.
Gonna be sick.
The police were only able to identify the body after they recovered his severed head floating in the courtyard fountain.
That's quite enough, Jack.
Oh, I can't believe it. Oh, it's all too much.
I don't understand, Mr. Carvalas. There were witnesses at the cocktail party who saw him collapse on the yacht. There are even photographs in the paper and a coroner's report.
All staged. You see, Mr. Kennemeyer's business would suffer if the public knew what really happened, so his investors made up the phony choking story.
Oh, I'm feeling a bit dizzy.
Me too.
I understand this is shocking news, but as I said, I wouldn't feel right about selling you this house unless you knew the truth. Mr. Kennemeyer wasn't quite the saint most thought he was. As a matter of fact, there is even a small stipulation concerning his will.
What sort of stipulation?
Well, it's only another testament to his true character. You see, the proceeds from the sale of this property are to be donated to... I can hardly say it.
Oh, please, go on, Jack. I have to know.
The money is to be donated to a cat house.
Oh, that is sick. To think that the money would be used to fund a house of perversity.
Perverse in every way. I am sorry that I had to tell you all of this. Of course, if you want to leave, I understand.
Well, it certainly gives me a lot to think about. Oh, gentlemen, would it be terribly rude of me if I went up to my room to lie down for a little while?
Not at all. Not at all. Preston, please show Patricia to her room.
I am not.
Please. Just don't mention the rest to her. I mean,
What? Rest?
There is more?
Oh my, I'm afraid I spoke out of turn. It's nothing, really. You just go lie down and rest for now.
Would you like me to come with you, Aunt Patty?
Oh, no, that's all right. I wouldn't want both of us to disappear on our hosts.
Come along. I'll show you to your room.
They exit up the stairs.
That was quite a story.
There's nothing to worry about.
You don't know my aunt, Mr. Carvalas. She gets some wild ideas sometimes.
Please call me Jack.
Jack. In that case, you may call me Evelyn.
So, Evelyn, you live alone up there in the city?
I do now. Aunt Patty wanted me to move in with her, but I have to confess I can only take her in small doses.
There's no shame in that.
I've managed some of her affairs for about 10 years now. Living with her is just too much.
10 years.
Yes, you look surprised.
I am.
Why?
Well, you hardly look old enough to have been doing anything for 10 years.
Is that a compliment?
You could say that.
Evelyn looks at him strangely.
What is it?
Nothing. It's just that you remind me so much of someone.
Really? An old boyfriend?
Not exactly.
Husband?
It was a long time ago. Ancient history. Afterward, Aunt Patty was kind enough to offer me a job working for her.
I see. So what happened to this husband of yours? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to pry.
It's all right. He was a politician, which can sometimes be a very dangerous business, Mr. Carr.
Jack.
Jack.
I'm sorry.
I'm not.
Well, I hope my story tonight didn't bring back anything unpleasant for you, Miss Winthrope.
Envelope.
Evelyn.
No. As my aunt said, I'm not as innocent as I look. I'm not as fragile either.
Oh, you wouldn't be, or you wouldn't have been able to work for her for so long.
Jack, may I ask you a question?
You can ask anything you like.
A moment ago, when you said you spoke out of turn, what did you mean?
Oh, that was nothing. Just a little more history about the house. Nothing to worry about.
I don't know if Aunt Patty will buy it now or not. She is so horribly superstitious. After all, a murder in the house.
Yes, I know.
I'm not a superstitious woman, Jack, but I do feel that some places have hearts and memories just like people do. When I first walked into this house, I could feel a tension in the air. It was as though even the very walls were humming with something. Greed, I think. Of course, I had no idea what happened here, but now it all makes sense. Do you think I'm ridiculous?
No. No, I don't. I think you are very perceptive.
Now the walls hum with something of a different sort.
What might that be?
Miss Winthrope, your aunt is asking for you.
I guess I had better see what she wants. Excuse me, gentlemen.
That woman is insufferable.
Evelyn?
No, that wench upstairs. Bring me this, bring me that. Close the curtains because sleeping under the light of a full moon causes nightmares. I'm exhausted.
So that's what took you so long.
It's not like you were missing me. Don't believe you.
What?
We're in danger of losing a fortune and for thanks to your wild storytelling, being sued for reneging on Kennemeyer's will. And you're sitting here flirting?
We haven't reneged on anything. Besides, I was just making polite conversation.
Right.
Look, just because Janet ran out on you doesn't mean...
Don't bring Janet up. She has nothing to do with this.
I'm just saying that I see an opportunity, that's all.
You and your opportunities.
I never liked Janet anyway.
Yeah, well, the feeling was mutual. Here's some piece of work, Jack. You lied to that old woman, and now...
You mean the wench upstairs?
But what if she repeats the story? What if she find out you made it up? What if Price finds out and turns his property over to the state? We could not only lose the inheritance, we could go to jail.
Relax. Leave it to me. Have I ever led you astray? Look at this as an adventure, and a very potentially profitable one.
We're talking about murder and greed.
See? It's just like poker. Don't bail out on me now. We've started this. We have to finish it.
No.
This is what I mean about you always barricading the door when opportunity knocks. Look, everything is all set. That's what this past week has been about.
Jack, I've gone to your parties. I've gone to your casinos. I've gone to your clubs. But I don't know if I can go through with this charade.
Makes me cringe when your eyes do that. Preston, this could be our chance to hit it big. Make Mother proud and all that.
Mother? Mother would be disgusted.
No, Father would be disgusted. Mother would applaud.
How do I let you talk me into these things?
Because deep down you know I'm right.
Yeah, it's all fun and games until someone's head ends up in a fountain.
That's the spirit. Just remember the plan. Perfect! I hadn't counted on a storm tonight, but it adds just the right atmosphere, don't you think?
I think I'm nauseous.
Just go down to the basement and wait for my signal. You remember the signal, right?
Yes.
Good. What are you waiting for? Go before they come back.
I'm going.
Remember, wait for the signal.
Preston nods and exits to the basement. Jack notices Patricia's cigarette case laying on the table. He picks it up and looks at it. An idea begins to form as he paces with it. He opens the case and removes one of the cigarettes. He takes one of the matches and gently slides it inside the cigarette, then replaces the cigarette back in the case. He puts the case back on the table where it was.
I'm feeling much better now. I hope you understand. I just needed a moment to clear my thoughts.
Oh, no problem at all. Please sit down. I know this is a lot to take in.
Oh, I have experienced some strange things in my lifetime, but this is the first time I've ever been in a house where someone was murdered.
I would understand if this shatters any hope of you buying the house. I'd hate to see the sale fall through, but no one could hold it against you.
Oh, I try to remain open-minded about these things. No one ever really knows what may have happened in any house, anywhere. Everywhere you go could harbor horrible secrets of the past. The only difference is we don't know about them. I'm not making any decisions yet.
I admire your courage.
Oh, Eva dear, would you hand me my cigarette case, please?
Sure.
She starts to grab the case, but Jack intercepts.
Oh, allow me.
He chooses the cigarette that he previously rigged with the match inside and gives it to Patricia. He pulls a lighter from his pocket and lights the cigarette for her.
Such a gentleman.
Jack lights the cigarette, and in a moment there is a bright flash as the hidden match inside ignites. Patricia screams.
Oh, what happened?
I'm terribly sorry, Mrs. Charlotte.
What on earth was that?
Static electricity?
Well, I've never seen static electricity do that.
There's only one other explanation.
What?
One other piece of this sordid puzzle that I was trying to avoid telling.
There's more?
Patricia, I don't know what you may believe when it comes to the afterlife. I used to be a skeptic myself. I had hoped that all of this would quiet down during your visit, but the truth is, this house is haunted with the ghost of Lars Kennemeyer.
Jack clears his throat and speaks louder.
I said this house is haunted by the ghost of Lars Kennemeyer.
The lights flicker.
Oh my!
His angry spirit wanders the halls and corridors of this house, seeking revenge against those that took his life. I can't even describe to you some of the strange happenings that have been going on since we've been here.
The lights flicker again.
Must say, that's rather hard to believe, Jack.
I thought so too. I didn't used to believe in such things, but seeing is believing.
The lights go out completely. The women scream. And Jack scurries to the portrait of Kennemeyer hanging on the wall. A flash of lightning reveals Jack removing the portrait. He turns it upside down and replaces it, then returns to his original position. The lights flicker back on.
What is going on?
There is no need to fear, ladies. The wiring in this house is very old. It's probably nothing. I never should have mentioned the ghost. Forget I said anything.
Patty, look!
She points to the portrait.
What is the matter, Evie?
She looks where Evie is pointing.
Oh, dear sweet angels in heaven, the portrait!
Oh my, it appears to be upside down.
You are right, Jack. This place is haunted. The cigarette, the lights, the portrait of Lars. The ghost is trying to send us a message.
Let's not jump to conclusions.
What other conclusion could there be?
Under the circumstances, perhaps we should save the grand tour for tomorrow.
Where's your brother?
He wasn't feeling well and retired early. It's a good thing, too. His nerves wouldn't have been able to handle all the excitement.
I think Jack is right, Eve. We should wait till tomorrow to tour the house. We should probably follow Preston's lead and all retire early.
Are you sure?
Well, I need to lie down. Oh, I hope you won't be offended, Jack, if we turn in for the night so soon.
Not at all. Do you require any assistance?
I think we'll be all right. I'll take her up.
If either of you need anything, don't hesitate to ask.
Thank you, Jack, for your honesty. Such a nice man.
Come along, Aunt Patty. Let's put you to bed. Good night, Jack.
Good night, ladies.
Well,
You should have seen the looks on their faces. It was brilliant. It was art.
Now what?
Oh, it'll be even easier from now on.
Evelyn appears at the doorway, unnoticed by the men. She stops and partially hides behind the door, barely visible. She listens.
I still say the whole thing is risky.
Well, we've laid the groundwork. Now it's just a matter of seeing it through to conclusion.
What if they find out
Will
that
you stop it with the what ifs? What if they won't find out?
your problem is you think you know everything?
I do know everything. And what I don't know doesn't matter.
Don't you think you should back off a bit?
Not while we still hold the ace. We'll start out simple with a few groans and knocking noises. Then we'll go in for the kill.
I still don't like it.
Evelyn enters from behind the door.
Excuse me, gentlemen.
Evelyn, I thought you had gone to bed.
I'm going in a moment. I just came for a cup of tea for Aunt Patty.
I see. Preston, would you...
I'll get it.
He exits to the kitchen.
Is everything all right? Is your room comfortable?
Yes, thank you very much.
It's been an awkward evening. I hope you can sleep in spite of everything.
I'm sure I'll be fine. I'm not as easily rattled as my aunt. I do wish she wouldn't get so unnerved. She has a heart condition. Jack?
Yes?
Nothing. Never mind.
Preston enters with the tea and hands it to Evelyn.
Thank you. I'll be going up now.
You're very welcome. We'll see you in the morning.
Good night.
She exits.
Think she heard anything?
Nah.
The lights fade in to reveal Patricia's bedroom. Patricia is sitting in a bed when Evelyn enters. Evelyn offers Patricia the cup of tea.
Thank you, dear.
You drink that. It will calm your nerves and help you sleep.
I would really rather have something stronger than tea.
Aunt Patty, do you really want to stay here? I'm sure we could find a hotel.
I don't give up so easily. But if you're uncomfortable, I can understand.
It isn't that. It's just that I worry about you and your fragile heart.
Don't you worry about me. I've survived this long.
Do you really think that story was true?
Well, what purpose would they have in making up a story like that?
It seems so outrageous. Murder, ghosts, and...
Oh, it's not really so outrageous. These things happen all the time. Oh, you poor sheltered thing. You should think that after living in the city for so long, a person would get used to crime. Believe me, Evie, I know a haunted house when I see one. Well, how do you explain how the portrait moved? Or how I was nearly lit up like a Christmas candle? I'm telling you, there's something lurking about in this house.
Well, then why stay here?
Oh, it's my own stubbornness. I've had my eyes on this place too long to be thwarted by the living or the dead.
What about the stipulation in the will? Doesn't that bother you?
Oh, there has to be some sort of legal loophole to get around that.
Around a man's will?
Why not? Lawyers find loopholes all the time. Perhaps I could expose Laura's evil doings to the public. Once people knew the truth, that awful place of perversity would be shut down. I would be a regular heroine. Or I could threaten to expose his involvement in the mob. Then his lawyer would surely do anything to keep me quiet.
That sounds dangerous.
Trust me, darling. Your aunt knows what's best. Oh, now you run off to bed. We have a big day ahead of us tomorrow.
Good night, Aunt Patty.
Oh dear. Good night, Evie.
A few hours later, Patricia is sound asleep and snoring loudly. Jack and Preston enter as quietly as they can.
Can't believe we're doing this.
Shh. We have to be quiet.
How do we know she's asleep?
Patricia lets out a loud, gurgling snore.
Why do I have to do it?
Because your handwriting is better than mine. Don't be difficult. I'll stand out here in the hall and keep an eye out for Evelyn.
Preston opens the jar.
This is disgusting.
It's stage blood, not the real thing.
It smells.
Just do it and get it over with.
He exits into the hallway.
Wait, Jack. What am I supposed to write?
Preston hesitantly moves to the mirror. He dips his finger in the stage blood, gags, and reluctantly writes the words, "Leave now," on the mirror. He then looks around for something to wipe his hands on. He finds Patricia's handkerchief on the dresser and wipes the blood off his hands. He starts to put the handkerchief down, then stuffs it in his pocket. Patricia snores and rolls over, startling Preston. He stumbles backward into the dresser. Jack enters in a hurry.
What is going on?
Patricia begins to stir. Jack grabs Preston and ducks behind the foot of the bed. She sits up in bed.
What was that?
She looks hesitantly around, but doesn't notice the writing on the mirror. With a trembling hand, she picks up the glass of tea, still unfinished on the nightstand, and guzzles it down.
She's awake.
Quiet.
Who's here?
Jack gets an idea. He grabs the edge of the blanket and begins to gently pull it down, uncovering Patricia. She gasps and grabs the blanket back over herself. Jack pulls again, harder this time, and the blanket falls over he and Preston, crouching on the floor. Patricia jumps off the bed with a scream. Then she notices the writing on the mirror and screams again. As she is backing away from the mirror, Jack and Preston rise from the floor, still covered with the blanket. Patricia turns and sees them. She screams again as Jack slowly approaches her with his arms outstretched. Patricia tries to scream, but instead she begins to choke. She collapsed on the floor.
What happened? It's quiet.
Throwing off the blanket, uncovering both of them,
I think she fainted.
he kneels to the floor and investigates Patricia's body.
Mrs. Charlotte? Patricia?
Wait, Jack. If she wakes up, how are we going to explain ourselves?
I don't think we have to worry about that.
She must be out cold. I guess we gave her a good enough scare.
Feeling her pulse.
I'll say we did. This woman is dead.
The lights fade up to reveal Patricia's bedroom just moments later.
What are we gonna do now?
I don't know, just let me think.
Well, think fast. Are you sure she's dead?
Of course I'm sure.
Last I checked, you weren't a doctor.
I don't have to be a doctor to tell the dead from the living. She's dead. Stone cold dead.
So what do we do?
First thing we have to do is get her off the floor. Help me get her back in bed.
I can't help you move a dead body.
Shh! Will you keep it down, please? I can't lift her by myself. You will have to help me.
Jack and Preston lift Patricia and lay her on the bed. Jack covers her with a blanket. Preston wipes his hands on Jack's clothes.
Now what?
We have to get rid of the evidence. I'll do something about the blood. You clean that stuff off the mirror.
Aunt Patty,
It won't come off.
It's Evelyn.
are you all right?
Hide.
Preston throws Patricia's robe over the mirror, and the two of them hide on the opposite sides of the bed. Evelyn enters.
I thought I heard screaming.
Evelyn inspects the bottle of pills on the nightstand, seeing that it is open. She looks suspiciously at Patricia on the bed. She starts to say something, then stops. Jack begins to make snoring noises.
Just a nightmare, I suppose.
That was close.
What are we gonna do, Jack? Do you realize what we've done? We killed that old woman.
Don't be ridiculous. How could we have killed her? We didn't even touch her.
Jack! We frightened her to death. You with all your pranks and storytelling.
Don't push all of this on me. You had a part in this too, remember?
Only because you talked me into it.
You didn't have to listen. Might I remind you that your fingerprints are preserved on the mirror in blood?
You're right. What are we gonna do?
Preston's eyes twitch as he starts to hyperventilate.
I'll think of something. Stop twitching. You're making me nervous. Look, as long as we get rid of the evidence, there's no proof we had anything to do with it at all. She simply had a heart attack. We get the blood off the mirror, we tuck her nicely in bed, and we pretend that we were never here.
Right. Right.
Just a heart attack, that's all.
What about her niece? She heard her screaming.
She had a nightmare. Simple as that.
But even if they buy the heart attack story, the police will come out here. How did we know that Miss Winthrope will mention that story you've made up about Kennemeyer?
I don't think she will.
But how do you know?
I don't.
So what do we do?
I wish you would stop asking me. Why do I have to come up with all the ideas?
I thought you were the mastermind, mister. Leave it to me.
I just need time.
We don't have time.
We have at least until morning. Let's get this cleaned up, and maybe I will have thought of something before the sun rises.
We're doomed.
Living room, early morning. Preston is desperately trying to clean the writing off the mirror from Patricia's bedroom. Without success, Jack enters, smoking a cigarette.
Is it coming off?
I thought you quit smoking.
I've recently taken it up again.
Your stage blood isn't theatrical at all. It's enamel. It won't come off.
You can't scrape it off with something?
I've tried everything. I've tried chemicals. I've tried sandpaper. It's as though it's bonded to the glass or something.
We'll just have to hide it then.
There's a noise in the corridor.
That must be the niece. She's up.
Jack points to the mirror.
Get rid of that quick.
Preston hides the mirror in the fireplace, facing the back. Evelyn enters.
Good morning, gentlemen. You're up early.
Good morning, Evelyn. You're up early yourself.
I'm afraid I didn't sleep well.
I'm sorry to hear that. Anything in particular that kept you awake?
No, not really.
Are you hungry? I'm not a fancy chef, but I make a mean omelet.
I should wait for Aunt Patty to come down.
How about some coffee, at least? Preston, why don't you go start some coffee? I could use some myself.
Sure.
What has you up and about this hour?
I guess sleeplessness is contagious in this house.
Aunt Patty is usually up by now. It's not like her to sleep past the sunrise.
Is she an early bird?
They get the worms, so I'm told.
She'll be getting plenty now.
Pardon?
Nothing.
Preston enters with coffee.
Thank you. Maybe I should go check on her. She worries me with her heart condition and all.
No. You stay here and finish your coffee. I'll go check on her if you like.
I don't want to be a bother.
It's no trouble. Preston, keep our guest company for a moment, would you?
So, what did the two of you do for Mr. Kinnemeyer?
Jack was his top salesman. He heads the marketing department now.
And yourself?
I am a file clerk.
Oh, are you married?
No,
Well, you're still quite young.
I did ask someone once.
Oh, what happened?
She said no.
That's a shame. What about Jack?
He's never been the marrying type.
You would be surprised. Perhaps he just hasn't met the right person.
For Jack, there is no right person.
Is she all right?
Oh, she's fine, still sleeping. Preston, could I have a brief word with you?
Okay.
He meets Jack in the doorway. They speak softly.
We have a problem.
What?
She's gone.
Huh?
Mrs. Charlotte, Patricia, the body, she's gone.
Gone?
Is anything wrong?
No! It's fine. Just fine. Just a little private business matter between us.
She be gone. Dead bodies don't just get up and walk away.
And she obviously wasn't dead.
You said.
Okay, I made a mistake. Look, it's a big house. She has to be here somewhere. We just have to look. You check the basement. I'll check the rooms upstairs. Fine. I'll look around. You keep her occupied.
Who could that be?
He goes to the door and looks through the peephole.
Who is it?
My ex-girlfriend.
Hello? Is anyone there?
Aren't you going to open the door?
Janet! What are you doing here?
I need to talk to you, Preston. I called your office yesterday and they said you were here. I know it's early in the morning, but I just couldn't wait. I may have been a bit harsh with you before. Who is she?
I'm Evelyn Winthrope. Nice to meet you.
Janet. Preston, who is she?
It's a long story. A friend of Jack's.
Can we talk? Alone?
What do you want?
I'll leave you two alone.
Janet, this really isn't a good time.
It just kind of scared me, you know, with your sudden proposal. I mean, I'm not sure I'm ready for that kind of thing. After all, with my career.
You said all of this before, Janet. You really should be going now.
I don't blame you if you're angry with me, but please listen. I came to tell you that I have done a lot of thinking since we last spoke, and
That's wonderful, Janet, but I'm afraid Preston and I are somewhat busy right now.
I didn't know he was here.
I'm sorry, but Jack is right. We are sort of in the middle of something.
Like what?
It's business you wouldn't understand.
I just want to talk to you alone.
Now is not the time to reconcile your romantic differences. We have other pressing matters to address, may I remind you.
Preston?
Maybe another time, Janet.
What could be so important?
There is a bump from the closet. Jack leads Janet to the front door by the arm.
As I said, we are very, very busy.
What is in the closet?
You and Preston will have plenty of time to talk, say tomorrow or next week. Have a safe drive to town.
He pushes her through the door.
Wait a minute.
Goodbye!
He slams the door in her face and turns to Preston.
What is in the closet?
Oh,
Jack cracks the closet door and peeks inside. He quickly closes the door and turns to Preston, his eyes wide.
It's her.
who?
Our missing corpse.
Patricia? How did she get in there?
I was going to ask you the same thing.
Is she alive?
Jack cracks the door and looks again, then closes it quickly.
No.
Are you sure?
Jack looks again and closes the door.
Very.
Now what do we do?
I hope I'm not interrupting anything.
No, not at all. Are you sure I can't interest you in some breakfast?
No, thank you. Where did she go?
Who?
Janet, your girlfriend.
Oh, she had to run.
I see. Well, if we are ever going to get a tour of this house, I'd better go and wake Aunt Patty.
Oh,
No!
I mean, I'll go.
All right, if you say so. Is something the matter? You look sickly.
I have a stomachache.
I'm sorry. Do your eyes always do that?
What?
Nothing.
It's rather strange.
What is strange?
She's gone. She left a note saying that she was just too uncomfortable in a haunted house and that she left for a hotel.
Without telling me.
She said she didn't want to disturb you.
How did she leave without anyone seeing her? You said she was asleep.
She was. She's more stealthy than anyone would expect.
I'll say.
Is she coming back?
I'm sure she'll be back. She wouldn't abandon you.
Well, that is not like her at all. She must have suffered a terrible fright.
There's probably nothing to worry about.
That must be her.
She starts for the door.
I'll get it.
I hope this isn't a bad time.
Of course not.
Good morning, Mr. Carvalas.
Hello.
Mr. Price, this is Miss Evelyn Winthrope, Mrs. Charlotte's niece.
How do you do?
Hello.
Evelyn, this is Mr. Edwin Price. He is Mr. Kennemeyer's attorney. To what do we owe the pleasure, Mr. Price?
I thought I'd take this opportunity to see how you were all getting on.
Couldn't be better.
May I come in?
Yes, sure, of course. Come in.
Let me take your coat.
She takes Price's coat and starts to put it away in the closet.
No.
They rush to stop her, but they are too late. She opens the closet door.
I look forward to meeting Mrs. Charlotte in person.
Patricia's body tumbles from the closet onto the floor. Evelyn screams.
Several moments later, Patricia's body has been removed from the closet.
Now that we have Mrs. Charlotte safely secured upstairs, I believe it's time for some answers.
You
What is the meaning of all this?
said she was gone. You said she left for a hotel.
How did this happen?
My aunt has been murdered.
Wait just a moment. That is quite a conclusion. We don't know she was murdered.
Oh, how can you say that? She tumbled dead out of a closet.
All right, let's all calm down now. We will call the police and a doctor. And We'll soon sort this whole mess out.
The police?
Are the police really necessary? After all, she may have entered the closet on her own.
How?
Yes, Jack. How?
Do you take me for a fool, Mr. Carvalas?
No, not at all.
Aunt Patty is dead, and only the three of us were here with her last night. I happen to know for a fact that two of you are responsible.
That's absurd.
Is it? Mr. Price, last night I overheard a conversation the two of them had about my aunt. I heard one of them say they were going to go in for the kill. Then later that night, I heard screaming.
You have it all wrong. She had a nightmare. You thought so yourself, when you came to check on her.
How do you know I went into her room?
That's a good question, Mr. Carvalas.
Because, Preston told me.
I did.
Yes, remember? You heard Mrs. Charlotte scream, so you went up to see if she was all right, but when you arrived at her room, you saw that Evelyn...
Miss Winthrope, to you.
Pardon? You saw that Miss Winthrope was already there, so you came back downstairs.
Is that true, Preston?
Now what?
I'll get it. Who are you?
Janet,
Preston,
I thought we
I had
said...
to come back. I refuse to be ignored.
You know this lady?
Are you still busy?
As a matter of fact, yes.
Janet! Just the person I need to see. Your timing is impeccable.
I came to talk to Preston.
Forget him for a moment. You could save us all a great deal of trouble.
I can?
She can?
If I may have a word alone with her for just a moment?
Oh, for heaven's sake, why?
Yeah, why?
Are you a parrot? I just need a moment.
Very well. But make it brief.
Janet, come upstairs with me.
Patricia's bedroom. Her body has been placed on the bed.
Jack, what is all this about?
I need your help.
Who's that?
It's a long story.
She's dead.
Yes, how very observant you are. That's why I need your help.
It's a bit late to be asking for a nurse. There is nothing I can do for a dead woman.
That's not what I mean. I need your help in another way.
Why would I help you?
Because you're a kind-hearted individual and a beautiful person.
And
Because I'm desperate.
go on.
You're a nurse,
I'm in nursing school.
but you would be able to determine a person's cause of death.
Maybe in certain circumstances, but I'm not a coroner. Nurses don't perform autopsies. A doctor would be better suited.
It doesn't matter. Your word might be enough.
Jack, did you kill this old lady?
No, of course not. That is not intentionally.
Jack Carvalas, I knew you were a rat, but this is unspeakable. You deserve to be behind bars, or worse.
I'm not the only one that would be going behind bars. Preston is in this too.
Preston, he would never do something like this.
Could you bear to see Preston in prison? Or worse, the chair, the needle?
No,
Then help us. All you have to do is say she died of natural causes.
I don't know, Jack. I can't lie like that.
That's the beauty of it. It isn't a lie. She died of a heart attack. I swear on all that is good and holy. As long as you back that story, no one will question what caused the heart attack. Do you love Preston?
Yes, that's what I came here to tell him.
Just do a simple inspection of the body and tell Mr. Price she died of a heart attack.
Janet inspects the body, then the bottle of pills on the nightstand. She looks at the teacup carefully.
You really didn't kill her on purpose?
We didn't. I swear on my mother's grave.
And Preston would really be in trouble?
Yes.
All right, Jack. I'll do it. But I want you to know I'm doing this for Preston, not for you.
Understood.
The living room. Price and Evelyn are seated on the sofa while Preston paces behind them, nervously.
I have some good news.
And what is that?
Miss Winthrope, I can assure you that your aunt was not murdered.
How are you sure?
Janet here is a top-notch nurse. She volunteered to inspect the body for us. Isn't that right?
Yes?
Tell them what you discovered.
It seems that she died of a heart attack.
And you're sure?
Yes.
Well, that's certainly a relief.
Janet?
That is my professional opinion.
But how did she end up in a closet?
How should we know?
The way I figure it, she had a horrible nightmare. Perhaps she was walking in her sleep or rushing to get out of the house in a hurry. Disoriented, frightened, alone in the dark in a big, unfamiliar house, she mistakes the closet for the front door. Trapped in a confined space, she panics and suffers a fatal heart attack. Very sad.
It's a stretch, but I suppose it's possible.
I have never known her to sleepwalk.
Lots of people walk in their sleep. Many don't even know they do it.
I'm sorry. I just can't accept your explanation.
Janet.
There were no signs of weapons used on the body, no strangulation marks of any kind, no cuts or bruises or bullet holes.
See?
Even if she was disoriented, to mistake the closet for the front door? And Jack told me she left a note. Where is this note?
I must have misplaced it.
Convenient of you, isn't it? Perhaps you left it in the closet that my aunt supposedly walked into herself. Next, you are going to say someone slid down the chimney and...
She gestures toward the fireplace and notices the mirror in the back. She pulls it out and turns it, revealing the blood writing still on it.
What is this?
That is that.
Preston pulls the bloody handkerchief from his pocket to wipe sweat from his face, and then suddenly realizes what he has.
And what is that? That's blood, isn't it?
He gets nosebleeds.
So he bled all over the mirror with such perfect penmanship?
No, that is a message from the ghost of Lars Kannemeyer.
What?
I can't do this anymore.
Preston.
It's no use, Jack. Besides, it's bad enough that we're involved, but now you have Janet blind for us. I can't.
Preston, enough!
We did it. We killed Patricia Charlotte.
What?
Not on purpose. You have to believe that.
What have you done?
Jack had this crazy idea. We didn't want her to buy the house, so when we found out that she was superstitious, we fabricated this elaborate ghost story to scare her.
You disgust me.
I'm not proud of it. It got a little out of hand.
How so?
Well, we sort of scared her to death.
So she didn't die of a heart attack?
Yes.
No.
What?
I inspected her body, and the pills next to her bed, this woman was poisoned.
Poisoned? We didn't poison her.
You already admitted you killed her.
What we did was an accident.
You mean it wasn't a heart attack? That means we didn't kill her at all.
You had every motive.
How would you know our motives?
This is all about money. If Aunt Patty bought this house, the two of you would be out of a fortune.
But how do you know that?
Well, it's a logical assumption, isn't it? Well, Why else would you concoct such a scheme? So you would get the money instead of the cat house?
How do you know about the cat hospital?
I'm confused. What are we talking about?
You knew all along about the will.
How is that possible?
Yes, I knew about the will. I knew Lars Kennemeyer. What I don't know is how you knew about his dealings with the mob.
I made that story up. It was all part of the charade.
Unfortunate for you, Mr. Carvalas. Perhaps you shouldn't let your imagination run quite so wild. It could have yet saved you some trouble and your life.
What do you mean?
What happens now, Edwin?
It seems these two know a little too much, Evie.
What is going on here?
All right, the three of you up against the wall. Put your hands up.
I don't understand.
You may have made up the story about Kennemeyer's death, but too much of that rings true. We can't let that story get out.
We're good secret keepers, aren't we, Preston?
Excellent. Got the best there is.
I've never even told anyone about Preston's sixth toe.
Hey.
And we're supposed to trust a gambler and a proven con artist? I don't think so. Evie and I hadn't counted on the two of you going to such lengths to make sure the house didn't sell. But you sure made it easy for us.
Yes, you practically framed yourselves and left us completely in the clear. We could easily pin the murder on them. They had motive, and there is plenty of evidence against them.
That is true. They know too risky, they know too much.
You're not thinking what I think you're thinking, are you?
You're a clever man, Mr. Carvalas. You figure it out.
We've done it before. The late Mr. Winthrope can tell you that. Oh no, wait, he can't.
But what purpose? To what purpose? What good will it do you to kill us?
Kennemeyer's connection to our smuggling operations must be kept quiet at all costs. Kennemeyer's name and all things associated with him have to be destroyed. That includes this house and the three of you. Not only will our secret be safe, but the payoff will be twofold.
What do you mean?
My aunt was a wealthy woman. As her only living family, who do you think will inherit her fortune? I thought a greedy, gambling man such as yourself would appreciate my ambition. After all, you've done your fair share of scheming.
I never killed anyone.
A technicality. When Aunt Patty started babbling on about buying this house, I knew I had to do something. That would take quite a portion out of my inheritance, and I certainly didn't want to inherit this drab old place.
And with the Carvalas brought out of the way and the property destroyed, Kennemeyer's remaining fortune will be absorbed by the local government.
I don't get it. How does that benefit you?
Who do you think controls the government? Politicians?
The mob.
Things have worked out nicely. Evie, go down to the basement, find some rope.
Rope?
Oh,
Do any of you try anything, I will shoot you. Evie, find a gas can too.
I feel faint again.
We'll not get away with this.
How do you figure?
I don't know. Just give me a minute.
All of you, sit on the floor.
They comply, sitting in a circle on the floor.
Tie them up.
Evelyn ties them together with the rope.
Preston, this may be too little too late, but I came here to tell you that I love you and I want to marry you.
Really?
Yes.
How sweet. Evie, give me the gas can.
She hands it to him and he begins to douse the room with gasoline.
I hope all of you are all comfortable because, you know, I hate to kill anybody uncomfortably.
I don't know. Maybe a pillow, dry martini.
Jack!
You're a card to the end, I see. Come on, Evie. We're gonna give the outside a good dousing too. We want to make sure we do a thorough job. I want no splinter of wood left standing in this place.
Yes, Edwin.
And remember, if you try anything, I will put a bullet in your skull. Understand?
Understood.
Jack, what are we gonna do?
Can you reach the phone?
Preston sticks his foot out as far as he can toward the end table where the phone rests.
No.
Okay. On the count of 3, everyone scoot toward the table. 1, 2, 3.
They all start scooting in different directions.
Nope. That way.
Which way?
Right.
Again, they all try to go in opposite directions.
No, my right.
Finally, they move in unison until they get close enough to the table for Preston to wrap the phone cord around his foot. He struggles to bring the phone to his lap.
I got it. Great. Now I'm supposed to dial it.
Wait, my engagement ring.
Now is not the time to look for it, Jack.
No, it's a diamond. I can use it to cut the rope.
She struggles behind her back until she can free the ropes. As soon as Preston's hands are free, he grabs the phone and starts dialing.
Hello, police? My name is Preston Carvalas. My brother, my girlfriend, and I are tied up in the old Kindermeyer estate by a couple of mobsters. You're about to be burned alive. What? Sorry. Wrong number.
Give me the phone.
I wouldn't do that if I were you. Drop the phone. I told you if you tried anything, I was gonna kill you.
You were gonna kill us anyway.
Preston, shut up.
Price stands underneath the portrait of Kennemeyer.
Stand up, all of you. You're not gonna make this easy, are you? Turn around.
I'm too young to die.
Quiet. So which one of you is first?
Will we draw straws?
So that's it, huh? You first, loudmouth.
Jack closes his eyes in expectation of the shot. Price raises the gun and aims. As he does so, the lights begin to flicker in the house, eventually going off. In the dark, we hear screams and banging, then a gunshot. The lights return to show Price lying on the ground with Kennemeyer's portrait on top of him. The gun lies by his hand.
Are we dead?
No, look.
What happened?
The portrait came down. Knocked him cold.
Evelyn goes for the gun. Janet goes after her. The two of them struggle for it on the floor.
Jack, help her.
You help her. I'm enjoying this.
Janet finally wrestles the gun from Evelyn. She rises and points the gun at Evelyn.
That's enough, lady. Hands up.
Nice job, Janet.
I admit it. I'm impressed.
I've been waiting for the right opportunity to expose Kennemeyer's smuggling operation. I've been watching you for weeks, Miss Winthrope. Never had that smoking gun. But now, I have just what I need.
She goes to her purse and produces a tape recorder.
Wait a minute.
Janet, what are you talking about?
You threatened the wrong woman's fiancé.
Janet, you're a spy too?
Yes, Preston. I'm sorry I couldn't tell you. I didn't want to put you in danger. Please don't be upset with me.
What about nursing school?
Are Preston and I the only two people in this room who aren't spies?
Preston, do you forgive me?
Well, of course I do.
Give me a break.
This is all sorts of bizarre. Preston, are you sure you want to marry a spy?
Being cautious, Jack? That's not like you. As a matter of fact, I hate to admit it, but you kept your cool pretty well with a gun in your face. My organization is recruiting, And since you're out of a job right now,
You want me to be an agent?
you and Preston make a good team. We could use a scheming mind like yours.
Jack Carvalas, man of espionage. I like it.
I don't know, Jack.
Come on, it'll be an adventure.
Fine. I don't know why I even bother arguing.
Excellent.
Just one thing I don't understand. What made the portrait fall?
And the lights. What happened with the lights?
Old wiring?
Yeah, very old.